Hey guys, it's Courtney from How Courtney Sees It, and I'm here today to do my October reading wrap-up. So, it is super bright outside, as you can see, and I really am not sure about this lighting, so I'm probably going to pause filming right here and play it back so I can watch it and see if it's too dark or if I need to adjust my life. So, let's do that right now. Alright, we are gonna go with it, and y'all can tell me in the comments because it seems to be fine. But so, how I'm gonna do this wrap up is I'm going to go from my least favorite book of the month to my favorite book of the month, and we're just gonna talk about them and how I feel about these things. I do have some like more in-depth reviews on my blog for some of these books, so I will link those blog posts down below if you want to go give that a look-see. No pressure though, you definitely don't have to. The lens of my camera is so dirty. We're gonna pretend like I didn't notice that because I don't want to clean it. Okay, so starting off, I have Crazy Rich Asians by Kwan, and this book is also a movie. They turned it into a movie last year, 2 years ago. I don't remember. But in my very humble opinion, I really just didn't like this book. What I did like that I thought was really cool and very smart of the author is at the bottom of the pages there are like footnotes of like other things going on. So it gives like more backstory to like the history, and then like translations, things like that, because a lot of the words are in Mandarin or not in Mandarin. There's a whole thing. They frown upon the girl because she speaks Mandarin. I don't know. It's a whole thing. So what I have read online, like from other people, is that basically this series is like the Asian version of Gossip Girl, like, or like Sex in the City. Like we like are obsessed with that in like the U.S. and like everyone that's Asian is obsessed with this. Supposedly, I don't know. That's just what I read. I didn't connect with this a ton, which I do talk about in that blog post. I think it was kind of like there was like a lot of unnecessary drama, and that's why I didn't like it, I guess. But if there was like if that stuff hadn't happened, this book would have been like 2 chapters long. So I get why that happened, and I also understand that that's probably the reality for like some Asian families that are really traditional. I just didn't connect with it, and I didn't really care for it, so I'm not going to be continuing the series, but I am glad that I read it because I do want to watch the movie, and now I have like more backstory than I would have gotten if I just watched the movie. So we're going with it. The next book that I'm going to talk about, so that was my least favorite, and now we're moving like up the ladder. This is The Cupcake Queen by Kepler. And this is basically a book about a like 14, 15-year-old. Her name's Penny. Her parents are getting divorced. They're separated, and she moves to this really small town with her mom called Hogs Hollow. And it kind of reminds me of like Stars Hollow in like from Gilmore Girls, because it's just like a tiny, tiny town where everyone knows everyone's business, and it's kind of like a whole thing. So they run a bakery, hence the name like Cupcake Queen, and she's super talented, like very artistic, and she makes like enemies with the mean girl, like the popular girl, and it's kind of just a cute story about teenage life. The only thing I didn't like about this book, which is why it's kind of like closer to the unfavorite side, is there was, right in the beginning, there's this whole section about how like the mean girl's parents are like fat, and like, oh no, like they knock over like a stand full of cupcakes because they like lean against a table, and it's like this whole, it's not like fat shaming, but it's kind of this whole like, oh, fat people don't know they're fat, and like it's kind of like that. And it kind of like put a bad taste in my mouth a little bit, but I mean like the book as a whole was super cute. I just don't think that that's like a healthy way to show like an antagonist. I don't know, because she was like making fun of them the whole time, like that it was going on. So I don't know. That's just my opinion. Okay, moving on. The next one is a Hearts Made for Breaking which is by Jen Klien, and this was super cute. This is about a girl named Lark, and she has like a serial dating past. She is like a serial breakupper, and the guys never know that she broke up with them, basically. So she'll either make them think it's their idea, or she'll like claim she's sick and can't see them anymore, etc., etc., like this whole bunch of things. So her friends like make a bet that she has to find the most like undateable person in school and get them to like fall for her and then break up with them for real, because they don't think she can do it. So then obviously like it's a YA romance, so they end up like falling for each other, and there's all this like just really cute teen angst and drama, and I did really like this book. It was cute. There are some like triggers in this book. They talk about like suicide and some stuff like that, drinking, underage, that kind of stuff. But it's all like very well, like it's kind of just like breezed over. It's not like talked about in depth. So it keeps it like light and fluffy. All good things. The next book was A Court of Froth and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. This is the last book in the Court of Thorns and Roses and Thorns, whatever, I always mix that up, I don't know. But in this series, it's the last book in this series. So basically this is like a tiny little baby. Why does the trash always have to come when I'm filming? Like, I am trash, I get it, dude, but like I'm busy right now. Okay, so anyway, this is like the last book in the series. I know she's kind of doing like a spin-off series for one of the sisters in the book, and I'm very excited about that. But for me, this basically read, and I want to say this in the most respectful way that I can, because I love this series and I love fan fiction, just as a preface, but this read like fan fiction. Like it read like it was a story apart from the main, like the story. Like that someone was like, oh, wouldn't it be cute if so-and-so did this? And then they wrote a fan fiction. Like that's how it reads. And I just didn't like it. I gave it like a 2-star or a 3-star on Goodreads. And the best part of it is honestly like the sneak peek at the next book at the very end. There's like 20 pages of like the next book at the very end. And that was the best part of this book. But I ranked it up so high because I love this series and I love the cover art. It's so pretty. And I am going to keep it even though I do not enjoy. I probably won't reread this one, but I'm definitely going to keep it in my collection to have the whole series complete. And I'm really hoping that she puts out the rest soon. Okay, moving on. So the next book was actually an audiobook, and I finished Outlander by Diana. I do not know how to say her last name, so I'm going to put it on the screen. And I was listening to this on Audible because it's like 38 hours long. And I had watched the Netflix show. I'd watched the beginning couple seasons, and I was like, oh, these are books. Like, I was like, oh yeah, these are books because all of Zach's sister-in-laws are reading them. And I was like, ooh, like, I want to read them too and, like, be a part of the conversation. So I started reading it, listening to it on Audible in, like, July. And I just finished it. I am listening to the second one right now, which is Dragonfly in Amber, I think is what it is. And that one is also taking a good amount of time. I'm only on, like, chapter 9. And I've been listening for a while. Must go. Doctor is calling. Hello? So back to Outlander, Distraction City, this video is, I'm so sorry. I really, really like the storyline. I am in love with Jamie, whose full real name in real life, I don't know, but that actor is so beautiful. He's the most beautiful man I think I've ever seen. And that's kind of wild. So I love watching the series, and I've been reading like the books, like I said, and it's been great. So I definitely am ranking that one like up pretty high in this list. The next book that I finished so many books because of the Gilmore Girl readathon. Just so everyone knows, this is not normal for me. But I finished Wintertown, and this is by Stephen Emond. And this is such a great book. It's part like graphic novel, part regular novel. Sorry, I'm getting a lot of glare happening, but this is part novel, part graphic novel, and it's so, just so good. It's about, the main character, his name is Evan, and his best friend, childhood best friend Lucy, goes away to like New York, New Jersey, I don't remember, but she's gone. Georgia. She's in Georgia, I recall. So she moves away because her parents divorce, but she comes home every like holiday break to see him, and they hang out for like a week straight, and they like reconnect, and it's really great. So then this year when Lucy comes home, she's like cut all her hair, and it's like dyed black, and she like got her nose pierced, and she's very like emo, like very like not his Lucy like he remembers. And so it's kind of just like them adjusting to their new friendship and like how life is, and him kind of like trying to figure out like how he can help and like what's going on, and her just like not sharing anything. So very teen angst. I liked it a lot. It's super, super cute, and it was very like, it was just really cute. Like I liked it a lot. I would definitely recommend it, and I'm really glad that I read it, honestly. Okay, we're almost done. The next book is Talking as Fast as I Can by Lauren Graham. This is like her autobiography. So this is From Gilmore Girls to Gilmore Girls and Everything in Between. I listened to this on Audible also just because I was driving a lot during the readathon, and I knew I wouldn't be able to get to this one. So I guess I should hold it on this side so you can see it. I really liked this book. I really like Lauren Graham. I love Gilmore Girls. It is one of my favorite series of all time. And the stories she tells like throughout the book are so personal and really great. And she talks about like the cast, and I did cry a couple times because they talk about like the character that plays the character of Lorelai Gilmore's father, like the actor actually passed away before they did the reboot series and like the 90-minute movies, and it was super sad because in all the interviews he's like really hyped up about them, and so she talks about that and like how the cast like dealt with his passing and everything, and it was just really sweet and very, very like touching. And honestly, this is exactly how I picture her being in real life. Like her character in Gilmore Girls, how I picture her being in real life, which, unless that's just the way she read this audiobook, because it was read by her, which is really great. But there's like pictures in here from like her childhood and stuff, like different pictures of like her and her dad and like her in different plays, and it's cute. It's a good time. I would definitely recommend if you're a fan. If not picking up the book, listening to the audiobook. The audiobook was so good. And then finally, my favorite book of this month was The Perfect Girl, which is by Gilly MacMillan. And this book is like a thriller, suspense, murder mystery situation I am all for. So the main character is Zoe, and basically it's set on a bunch of different point of view. So you hear from Zoe, you hear from her mom, you hear from her aunt, and you hear from the aunt's like lover. Like the aunt is like cheating on her husband with Zoe's old lawyer, and in this book they call him a solicitor, which I assume is a UK term because that is not what solicitor means in America. But so she is a 17-year-old musical prodigy, the main character, and she got into a drunken driving accident when she was 14 and was with like 3 other kids, and they all died. She was the only one that survived. She was driving, and so she went away to like juvie, like child jail, you know, and her mom, whose name is Maria, she just really wanted them to like rebuild their life, so she remarried because Zoe's dad, they got a divorce after she was put into like the system, just because she couldn't deal with it anymore. So Maria, her mom, marries this guy named Chris, who has a kid of his own, who's also a musical like genius. Like, he's super smart, really good at piano. So the story opens and they are playing a dual concert, where they're confronted by one of the parents of the kids that Zoe like killed. And it's really intense, and it's super, like, you get to hear from different point of views, which is really, really awesome. And I thought, sometimes jumping point of views is really confusing, or it gets like chaotic, and this was so well done. I loved this so much. Like, this was definitely my favorite book of the month, and I would recommend this one 100% if you're into like suspense thrillers. But it wasn't even like super crazy thrilling or like super crazy suspenseful. It was just like, you didn't know what was going on for like half of it with the point of view situation, and you get like little tidbits, and you have to kind of like build the story as you go, because you get like a chapter at a time, like more information from every single person, which is awesome. And the sun is really moving, so I'm gonna wrap this up so I can adjust my camera for the next thing I have to film. I love you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you want to be friends with me on Goodreads, go down below, click that link, and hang out with me there. I'd love to talk to you guys down there, in the comments, anywhere really. My Twitter and Instagram are also linked, and my other channel, which is beauty related, if you want to hang out with me over there if you're interested in that stuff. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you all in the next one. Bye, guys.